How are y'all, and welcome back to another episode of KCG Plays. Today we're doing another challenge run in Luck Be a Landlord, and today's challenge is the no item challenge. Very simple rules. We can't take any items or any symbols that might have the chance of adding an item. So we can't take item capsule or hustling capsule. The only exception is bartender. We're allowed to take bartender even though it may add a chemical 7. So we may end up with a chemical 7, but it's unlikely to add 3, so it's unlikely to affect our run. And so that's the only exception. So as always, floor 1. This is actually my second attempt running this challenge. I started it earlier today, and just before this actually. And I finished one run which failed at the 300 rent payment, I think. And then I was starting my second run and I realized that I hadn't actually started recording. So I just narrated an entire run, which nobody will ever hear, except possibly my neighbors, depending on how good the installation on the walls are. So anyway, let's jump in. So this challenge is quite difficult, although funnily enough, oh, this could be our crab run. I haven't gotten a crab run going, so it'd be nice to tick that off. One of the hardest bits on my last run was actually remembering that I wasn't allowed to take items. Okay, let's take a monkey. And we made our first rent payment, no problem, 6 left over. Removal capsule could come in handy, although we'll probably get loads of removal capsules. I think a target is pretty good, no items. For anyone interested, here's my inventory. It's looking incredibly blank, as we haven't even destroyed anything yet. It's also black, I thought it was blue. Let's take a second cheese. Am I going mad? Is your inventory screen not usually blue? I'm definitely going to have to re-look at one of my older videos. I thought it was blue. Let's take a miner. Might give us some nice early cash. Oh, we could take a tedium capsule. Bit of cash, and we're all getting is commons at the moment anyway. I don't particularly need a bounty hunter. Thieves don't show up often enough. Anchor though, it's worth actually closer to 1.75 I think, rather than 1.2, which I mistakenly thought up until now. Can't take a hustling capsule. Wouldn't mind taking a hooligan. Can't take any items. In the last run we had 2 big urns, but no hooligan to destroy it. Okay, I think a bronze arrow is probably better than a coconut in the long term. Frozen fossil, oh, this is fantastic. Very early on to get a frozen fossil. This could define our run. Now we just need to survive long enough to have it pop, which we should definitely be able to do. Unless we take an oyster. Let's take a banana. At this stage we just want to be taking things to fill up our board. Let's take another cheese. Okay, a mouse would be fantastic here. Definitely guarantee that we make rent payment for a while. We made the 100 rent payment with 47 left over. 150 now due in 6 spins. We could take a thief, as we do have a banana. In fact, I will, and no items. I might start taking things in order to just remove them for the frozen fossil. Let's take a dog. I was told actually. So this is the only symbol in the game that does this, I think. And I thought you could hear the dog bark when you did it, but maybe not. But look, you can pet the dog. So, bit of an Easter egg there. I don't think anything else does this, but yeah, you can pet a dog. Only can you do that to wolves. Okay, there goes our thief, giving us a grand total of 7. Not a fantastic thief. Can't take an item capsule. Do I want a cultist? Not particularly. Eldritch creature doesn't count as a no. Oh, I do want a cultist. What am I on about? I want a cultist so that I can remove the cultist. And now it's only 9 turns. We could get a coconut is safer because it gives us more money. This I don't think is going to be our crab build, unfortunately. Let's take a plum because it gives 2. The worst thing that could happen on this run would be for it to die before. Do we have a... We don't. Let's take a wine because it gives 2. The worst thing that could happen would be for it to die before we get the Eldritch creature out. Because I think once we get this out, this run, definitely should be much easier to win. We could take a buffing capsule, we could take a 5-sided dice. Let's take a 5-sided dice, gives 3 on average, can't take any items. Pet the dog. Okay, 6 more turns. A mouse is brilliant. We have what, 3 cheeses? So yeah, that should mean that we definitely are making the next rent payment. No problem at all. Let's take another cheese for our mouse. Could have done a decent arrow there, but no such luck. Void creature is okay, just roll in and die. 2 turns. We have to start thinking of things to feed it now. We could take another banana for our monkey. And we'll take another void creature just to roll in and die. Okay, we could take a pinata. I don't want one. Let's re-roll and let's take a coal. Or Matryoshka doll. Does General Zaref destroy Matryoshka dolls, I wonder? Let's take a coal. Okay, excellent. So we have our Eldritch creature, so we're getting 5. That's brilliant. Let's try and build him up as much as we can. We made our 225 rent payment with 87 left over. That's great. 300 now due in 7 spins. Okay, a billionaire or buffing capsule. We do have a wine, which is okay. But let's take a buffing capsule and frozen pizza. Ah, come on. I was saying in my last run, unfortunately will never be recorded. That was a good buffing capsule though. It hit the monkey. That the worst thing would be to see a very rare item really early on and be like a recycling. Frozen pizza, not fantastic, so I'm not that sad. But let's take a hexa hoarding. Yeah, recycling or swapping device or something, and be like, oh, it had to be this run. It couldn't be one of the runs where, you know, it would have helped. It had to be this run where I couldn't take it. That would be pretty bad. But frozen pizza is not great, so I'm not that upset. Let's take a treasure chest, and I can keep the hexa hoarding. It's worth 3, so I don't mind having it in the deck. Let's re-roll and let's take a tedium capsule. Eventually it'll be eaten by my Eldritch creature. Okay, we have 2 spins. Let's take an omelette and let's remove. Let's remove what is worth 1. We want to start removing bad things. Flowers are bad. Pearl isn't. Kinds are bad because the only thing that can get rid of it with no items is the pirate, which is a very rare symbol, and cherry is bad. Okay. Okay, and we've made our next rent payment. Do I want a hooligan? I already have a hooligan. Do I want a toddler or don't? Do I want a bounty hunter? Not particularly. Let's skip this. Okay, we're not getting anything to feed to our creature, which is a bit sad. Mrs. Fruit is pretty good though. It's still pretty early on. We could get a Mrs. Fruit and can't take any items. Okay, if we make the next rent payment, here's a cultist. That's great. Eat up. Where is my creature? Why is he not eating? Need a dwarf actually. Bar soap is, we don't have a toddler, so bar soap isn't great. Let's take a wealthy capsule. Okay, there goes my hexa hoarding. 40 per spin. We need 200, so 40 per spin will be enough. Let's take a 5-sided dice. Okay, there goes one of my peaches. Okay, that's not 40. Another hexa hoarding is okay. Eaten by our Eldritch creature straight away. How are we doing? 33 on that spin. That's not great. Let's take a cherry. 3 spins. If we get 3 30s, no, we need more than that. We need something big. Hexa destruction. There goes one of my miners. 33. Ah, come on. Can we not? No. This can't be a fail. I have such an early Eldritch creature. Come on, save it. And no, okay. This is pretty sad, I have to admit. Just getting such an early Eldritch creature and just not getting the support for it is pretty sad. We had a pretty early eater, but it's hard to get money when you've no items. I guess one creature just can't carry the entire run. Let's try one more time. Okay, do we want an oyster? Let's take an oyster. This could be terrible. It could end up ending the run quite quickly. Let's take a B. Actually, we don't need to worry too much about taking things just for the sake of taking them, because oyster will fill up our board anyway. Let's take a shiny pebble. Maybe we can get a diver early on, or a geologist. That'd be great. And we made our first rent payment with 8 left over. Let's take a peach. Oh, almost hit a lunchbox by accident there. I've got to stop double clicking when selecting symbols. We already have a toddler. I don't particularly want a lunch. Let's take a lockbox. Okay, the oyster is going to mean that for a time we are ahead of the curve, but not for very long. Let's take a reroll capsule. And here we could take a banana peel, I guess. Definitely don't want to take another pearl. And we made the 50 rent payment with 36 left over. 100 now due in 6 spins. Do we have a toddler? We do, so let's take a pinata. Toddler is never going to be super great without the item that doubles it, but it'll be okay. Let's take a key for our lockbox. And we could take a coal for a bit of late game scaling. Void stone is decent. Let's skip this. There goes our void stone. There goes our toddler eating away. That's excellent. And we can't take a chemical 7. We may end up with a chemical 7, but only through bartender. Which, to be honest, what's the chances we'd see a bartender? Okay, we made the 100 rent payment with 94 left over. Not too bad. It's kind of about now that it'll start falling off a bit though. Let's take a buffing capsule. And again, almost clicked that item. I've got to stop double clicking. But luckily it didn't. We could take a dwarf. Dwarf is one of the better eaters. Gives 10 or 20. There is a beer. We actually took a hooligan in our last run and didn't use it once. I don't think we saw a single urn. Do we want a second dwarf? No, let's take a milk. And out of these, let's skip these. Okay, oyster's not doing too bad, but it's also not doing too great. Let's take a second milk. We have a whole lot of ones in our deck, but we made the 150 rent payment with 75 left over. 225 now due in 7 spins. Let's re-roll for hopefully something good. We didn't get it. Let's skip this item. Let's take another candy for the toddler, I guess. And we could take a buffing capsule, which buffed not much. Let's skip all of them. And it's about now that our oyster is starting to be bad. Let's take a rabbit fluff. I think the only chance we have is to get something really good really early. Let's take a shiny pebble. Let's just keep stacking our luck. And we made our 225 rent payment with 16 left over. I think unless we find an eater on this one, which we didn't, we are probably not going to make the next rent payment. Yeah, we're only getting 20 per turn. Hex of Emptiness is not great. We could take a plum. I mean, it's better than what we have on average. We do have a load of removals that we should use. Let's take a void creature. Now we only have 26 symbols. Let's remove the kind. Let's remove the... Well, the flower is okay, I guess. Let's remove the... What's that? Cherry. Okay, let's take another milk. Probably should have taken bar soap there, actually. Do we have a hooligan? We don't. We do have a dwarf though, so let's take a wine. Maybe that'll save this rent payment. 300 due and 2 Midas bomb. Okay. It's not going to give us very much. Well, 70. It's not too bad, and they cleared out some of our deck. Let's take a big ore and hope the miner gets to it. He did. And we got a void stone. It's not bad. So we still didn't make rent though. Even after getting a Midas bomb, we just filled up with too many pearls. I mean, on the other hand, we probably wouldn't have made rent anyway without the oyster. That oyster probably let us go for longer than we would have without the oyster. So it wasn't too bad. Let's give it one more go. This will unfortunately have to be my last attempt at this. We could take a second flower, maybe we could get some kind of flower build going. I mean, I think Bounty Hunter needs something else because it's just not good enough. Thieves aren't common enough for Bounty Hunter to be good. Let's take an anchor as the best of those. And let's take a coal for a bit of late game scaling. And we made the first rent payment with 6 left over. Let's take a big urn and skip all of our items. Okay, bounty hunter's not great. Let's take an orange because it's worth 2. We could take a banana. Let's take a bubble though. Instead, worth 2, destroys itself. We don't have the synergies for anything else. We could take a key, might come in useful in the future. Do we want a miner? Not particularly. Let's take a lockbox for the key. And we made the 50 rent payment with 30 left over. 100 now due in 6 spins. We don't have any toddlers, so let's take a void creature and skip all of our items. Okay, we could take a monkey. Let's do it. Silver arrow is great. I think we just have to take that. It's very early on to be seeing that. Let's see a shiny pebble. Okay, I don't want any of these. What? We don't particularly want to skip either though. So let's take a pearl because it has 2 eaters that can remove it. Each of the other ones only had 1. Let's take an anchor because it's a slight chance of being better. Slightly better than 1. And we made the 100 rent payment with 41 left over. 150 now due in 6 spins. Do we still have that key? We don't. So let's take a 5-sided dice and let's skip all of our items. Do we have a dwarf? We don't. Let's take a beer. We probably pick up, I wouldn't mind picking up a dwarf. Our silver arrow is not great at the moment. Hex of draining. Now let's take a peach because it's worth 2. Definitely wouldn't mind picking up Mrs. Fruit on this run. 34, that's not too bad. Let's take a milk because it will get destroyed. Although I haven't had much luck with my eaters running into consumables on these set of runs. Could take a hexatedium. Do I want one though? Probably not. Let's skip and let's use our rerolls on the rent payment. We're getting 30 per turn, which isn't too bad. It means we'll probably make the next rent payment. Let's take a Matryoshka doll. Let's not use our rerolls. Let's save them until a bit later. Okay, decent hit on the bronze arrow. Let's take a bubble. Okay, a beer for the dwarf. Okay, a diamond is rolled in. That should give a nice bonus. Do we want a mouse? Not particularly. Do we want a big ore? No. Well, it gives 2. Gives 2, which I think is worth taking. Purely for that reason. Do I want a monkey? No. Do I want a snail? No. Let's re-roll for a wealthy capsule. Still get 15 there. Fantastic. I guess a crab is okay. By itself though, it's not great, but at least we can get rid of it. Rabbit fluff I think is the best choice. And let's take out this kine. Our inventory screen is looking very bare. And we made the 225 rent payment with 58 left over. 300 now due in 7 spins. Do we have a monkey? We do. So I think coconut is probably best and skip all of our payments. Maybe we should have used our rerolls there to try and get something better. We probably should have. Let's take a target. Okay, that's great. The arrow hit that, which was then eaten by a coconut. Fantastic interaction. We could pick up a banana for our monkey. Are we going to make our next rent payment? We should. Let's skip this. 3 spins. Let's take a milk and let's remove. What's our worst symbol? It's either a pearl or a cherry. Let's take out the cherry and let's take out a pearl as well. Bring us back down to 24. I mean, crab isn't great either. There's a lot of, let's just say there's a lot of bad symbols. So take a coal. It's better than skipping. Not by much. Let's take an orange and let's remove. What am I removing? Probably the other pearl, I guess. 40 per turn. Alright, this is where we have to find something that scales. Farmer is not good enough. Treasure chest also not good enough. Mine, not good enough. Unfortunately, Martini is the best choice. Let's skip all of our items. And unfortunately, I think this run is probably not going to go much further. Let's take a Void Stone. I don't want a cultist. Let's take another rabbit fluff. Maybe we can get lucky. Do we have a toddler? We don't even have a toddler. Let's take a bronze arrow. I suppose there's always a chance that they'll do something crazy. Three spins, so we might make the next rent payment. That could help. 67 on that spin, that's actually not too bad. Don't want any of these though. Problem is we're not actually improving at all. We're being very stagnant. Let's take a wealthy capsule. Did I have a Matryoshka doll? And we made the 350 rent payment with 38 left over, surprisingly enough. 425 now due in 8 spins, which is not great. Mrs. Fruit though could work. And let's skip all of our items. We have a few things to feed to Mrs. Fruit. Do we have a hooligan? We don't. Do we have a mouse? We also don't. Let's re-roll here and let's take another bronze arrow. Let's destroy. Is it flowers? I think it is. Wow, Mrs. Fruit, we're relying on you to eat up a load of things and then get hit by a load of arrows. Let's take a big urn. It's worth 2. Let's skip this. Mrs. Fruit is not cooperating. I wonder what the chances are if you have 2 symbols. Say you have 25 symbols, 20 spaces on the board. What are the chances that 2 symbols will land next to each other? Like any particular 2 symbols. If anyone's a mathematician or has read the work of a mathematician, I'm sure on Discord or on Reddit. On Reddit, people have worked out the maths for a lot of things, so let's just say it's not unlikely that somebody has done this. I haven't found it, but definitely there's a good chance. So if anyone knows, please let me know. But unfortunately, despite the inclusion of Mrs. Fruit there towards the end, it was not enough to get us the win. So this run failed. As far as this challenge goes, a tough enough challenge. Obviously, there are some strategies that wouldn't be affected by it, like if you went cultist. But even so, a lot of the eaters are affected by things that improve them. Like each of the monkey, the toddler, and the dwarf all have items that drastically improve how much money you get from them, like double how much money you get from them. as well as a few items that kind of add a little bit to how much money you get from them. And without them, it's very hard to make it. Like on a normal floor 9, floor 1 run, I might fail around 600. I would say, if I don't get any scaling online or anything, but generally you just breeze through the first couple of ones because the eaters are strong enough to do that. But on this challenge, they're not without the support, so I think you have to be quite lucky. You could go like a cultist or crab run, wouldn't be affected very much by it. Can't get anthropology degree or rusty gear. Actually, rusty gear be a big downside, but it should be enough to win on floor 1. But yeah, no, a tough challenge, an interesting challenge. It definitely shows how important the items are. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, give us a like and subscribe to see more. We'll be back tomorrow, another floor 9 run. So let me know what you thought of the challenge in the comments below. It's always interesting. And if you have any other challenges you'd like to hear, please let me know and I'll add them to the list. And until next time, guys, cheers for now.